So, hello everyone, welcome back to the another sessions. Today I'm going to talk about the most exciting and most demanding features. Like a lot of people comes and ask how we can do counts functions into UiPath Apps BB expressions. So if you remember, if you see a count function with data service entity into apps, so when we were using legacy applications, we can easily use count functions, and you can just get the list of counts for the records. But this has a kind of limitation because your data service always returns 1,000 records count, because that has a limitation with the API and data service. So we cannot get more than thousands if you have more than 1,000 records, right? So if you talk about this one, how we can get into your path, you can say BB apps, we will go and see. So now if we go and see one of the applications, let me go and design one of the applications here. So if you go here, I have created a kind of data service entity, and in this entity, I have more than 1,000 records. So if you go here, voting details, right? And in the voting details, I have around 1202 record, 1,202 records. Now I want to get the list of records count on the apps. How we can do that, we will see that. And what are the kind of counts into UiPath apps. So let's go back quickly. And here I have one applications which I have designed for count function. So let's go count functions. So what I can do now, so let's go to, let it run. So what we can do here now, so the easiest way, like when you have to get the list of records, you can get it from data service directly, but this will always give you 1,000 records. So the best way how we can tackle it, let's go and see. So what you need to do, you need to go first and you need to add your entity as a kind of entity attributes here. So if you go here, I have added voting details, and if you see the counts and everything, 1202 records, and then you need to create an app variable of the type of called list source. So let's go here and I can say voting counts India right now. Right now it's a kind of voting was going on in India. So let's go here and you say list source, and then what you can do, you can select the list of the entity. So you can say what are the variable name and what is the type and what type of it is. So it is voting details. Now I have created voting counts India, right? Now what exactly you need to go first, everywhere whenever you are trying to change the data, suppose you want to change the data count on the page load, or maybe on submit clicks, or maybe you can say drop downs or anything else, right? So obviously what you will have to do, you will have to write an event on the change or rules, right? And for that one, what you need to do, you need to write a set function, set rule. So basically what you will have to do, you will have to go set value, right? And in set value, what you can do, you can just go and say voting counts India. So this is kind of a object, right? And now what you need to do, you need to go and write an expression to get the value. So what you can do, you can just go and open a query builder. Either you can write through query, open expression editor. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm going to query builder, and in query builder, what you need to select voting details. And the moment you select voting details, what you can do, you can add some filter also, and based on that you can get the data, because a lot of cases we have to get only active record. So in that case you can say is active equal to true and then get the data, right? And now what I need to do, save this. So the what is happening here, the moment the page is getting loaded, right? So we are setting voting counts India list source with this count and this value, right? And now what we can do, now we can play with this app variables across the application. So you don't need to go and create an every times, right? So single app variables you are playing across the apps now. So let's go here now. So now what I will do, I will go here and I will show you there are two kinds of counts. One is called total records and then other is count, normal count. So what is the difference between total records? So let's go here. So this is kind of total records and this is something called total count. So we'll see the difference. Total records, what it does, it brings all the count. This total record just return the total count from the server, right? So this is not going to call everything. So this calls server side and give the exact count back. But if you use normal count, it always go and hit the server with your exact count, and then in this case it returns always 1,000, but here it doesn't go and get counts always, right? So that's how it plays, right? Now if you see here, if I go to this one, what you need to do, if you go, and what I will do, I will say app variables. So I say voting counts India dot, you can see here, this is total records, and this total records bring, this is a kind of one parameters into this variable, you can say this function which returns from the server as a total count of records which you initiated at the time of event change, right? When we set at the page load. So now it's total record. So it is something like a one time call. So it's not going always and hitting your server and getting the count. So it just initiate the moment when you change the event and you call the functions, right? So this is something called voting counts India dot total records, and then you can say dot to a string, because I'm just storing into a string variable. If you store into number, then you don't need to convert it, right? So in this case, what happens? This does not have any limitation. So it actually brings the actual count from your data service and you can say server side, right? And it does not go and call every time. So now if you go and save it, so now what you need to do, let's go here now. I'm just going and checking one more count function how we can write it. So now if I go here, so what you need to do, basically you need to say what exactly you want to get, voting counts dot, then now you'll have to write the kind of expression to get what count you want. I mean, you are going to play around the data where you can writing some where conditions, because now you assume you first call to the server and you get your all records into apps. Now what you need to do, you need to play around that, how many are submitted, how many are dropped, how many are rejected, and all those things. So for that one, what you need to do, you need to do voting counts India, then dot, you need to go and play on data, and then you can say dot, you need to say where, right? And then you need to just close this bracket, and you can say function, right, is, and then you can say is dot, what you need to do is dot name dot, I can say contents, right? Contents, and then I can just pass something called user one, right? Some user one, and then close this bracket, and then I can say here, now you can see count, right? And this count dot to a string. So what is the difference between this count and then total records? So this count will always bring maximum 1,000 count. So if you suppose in your backend, if you have matching records more than 1,000, then it always come 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. But if it has less than 1,000, then that's fine. So then in that case, it works very well. So it doesn't go and bring all the records from your server, right? So what exactly here we are doing, we are playing on the data, voting counts, where we are writing on data, like kind of writing where lambda function here, and then we are writing where a function. We are defining a function object here, and in that object we're saying dot name. I mean, this completely returns the property name. Dot contains like user one, so it just returns where user one dot count dot to a string. So it will return all the users which has user one matching, and then we can return the count here. Now we can go and save it. Let's go and run this. So while we are running, you can see the difference on the runtime now. So once my page got run here, so let's go and see. So let's go and see now. See now the difference here. So the total records is coming 1202, which is completely coming the total count from the server, right? And then I am trying to find matching records which had total count users one here, total count. Now if you want to go and change something into your data service, right? Let's go, and I have data service here, and if I select, suppose you say votings details, right? I have data here, and now if I want to change something, you can say I want to change user 12022 to maybe you can say 32. So now you can see the count will decrease by 1. It should comes to 111, triple one, right? Because we are not able to find the exact matching with user one, right? So that's how it works. So right now we can go and change it. No, it's because it's not got changes. That's the reason it's not coming. So basically what it returns the total counts and then total records from the server. So this is the difference. So every times before reading and before getting the counts, you make sure you initiate the variables, because if you don't initiate, then you will not have record inside memory, and then you will have to initiate. Either you initiate on the payload, which I am doing right now here, you can see, either you can change on the change events or anything, and then you can do that. So this is how you can just create your reports, generate your reports, and you can just show to the customers and everything. Okay, that's it guys, thank you for watching.